Warning, this video may include profanity or crude language. Viewer discretion is advised.
Insane in the Half-Breed.
One brain, one wheel, infinite topics. With Sean Gallagher and Kyle Romero. Featuring Avery Lowell.
High quality.
Boy Banter. Episode 1.
Hey everybody, this is, well, let's just say home away from home. This is Studio 2 of Insane in the Half-Brain.
Studio 3.
3, that's
Studio
right.
3.
So, this is a special episode. We got our pal Avery. If you don't remember, he was in the Beetlejuice episode.
How you doing, guys?
Yeah, so this is a special one. So, to start things off, what do you want to talk about?
It's unedited. You know, there's going to be no pictures, just us talking in the studio for...
This coffee tastes like shit.
That's because it's his shit.
Oh, so it's just not me.
I like it. It's a bit nutty.
It's a bit nutty.
Lighter on the food chain. You saw Venom. I saw it Friday.
I still haven't seen that movie, man.
Really?
Dude,
I still haven't seen
honestly,
You're not missing much.
Yeah, as much as I wanted it to be good,
I teared up, though, at the end.
I didn't even tear up. Like, you do feel it. Like, it definitely does hit you, but you just know in the pit of your stomach, Marvel's gonna find a way to have Venom crawl back into the whole thing.
Well, they should anyway,
So,
man.
yeah.
Like,
But
he
I
needs
think...
to be part of the new Avengers.
No,
Like
well,
an
you see,
Avengers.
they're doing it smart because they knew if they were going to throw it into maybe even Spider-Man 3 way too early.
yeah.
Spider-Man
So they're
4.
doing it smart because I think they're holding it off as much as possible, maybe until maybe Spider-Man 4. We might get maybe like a little hint.
That's going to be filming next year.
Right. And it's not coming out until 2027.
Really?
Yeah, well, they're filming it in... Actually, no, they're filming it 2025 and it's coming out in 26. Yeah.
And you know, you saw who just signed on to play Black Cat? Sydney Sweeney.
That's perfect. You know who I always wanted
Who's
to play
Sydney?
is MJ?
Wait.
She's a girl from Euphoria. She was a blonde
also
girl.
from Madam Web.
The really pretty one. with
Oh,
nice
the
boobs.
blonde chick? Perfect.
Yeah.
I would have had her or the girl that was in Wednesday. That little blonde girl
Okay.
with the pig.
I don't know
with the
though.
colored hair,
Sydney
though.
Sweeney for me, she's like a perfect choice. You know?
She's like an older though. She's an old. Oh no, wait, no, never mind.
She's
You're right.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about her playing as Gwen. She's perfect as Gwen.
But you know what I wanted, and I might seem crazy for this. Okay.
Maybe she
And
is playing as Gwen, but I'm sure.
People might give me backlash for this, and I'll
Not
understand.
too early for Gwen.
But if they were gonna, so MJ that we have in the movies right now is Michelle Jones.
Yeah.
She's not Mary Jane.
Mary Jane, yeah, they already.
If they were giving a Mary Jane Watson,
like the actual
The-
redhead,
the
Mary
redhead-
Jane.
if they, I don't think they're going to, but if they did, you know who my pick would have been? 100% Bella Thorne.
Yes.
100% Bella
Yeah.
Thorne. She's a smoke show.
She
And
is,
you know what?
and she's
Mary
like-
Jane in the comics was a
a
smoke
smoke
show.
show. And the reason how Peter got her is everyone was like, how the fuck does this nerd get a girl like
Do you remember
that?
who played
Yeah.
Flash Gordon in the first Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Flash Johnson.
Flash.
Oh, Flash Gordon.
Masters of the universe.
You know?
He's the savior of the universe.
He'll save every one of us. No,
Dude,
yeah.
I got one of us.
I got Flash Gordon here. We're doing lines.
But you think about it though, right? Because if you look at Mary Jane, imagine Bella Thorne as Mary Jane Watson coming up to you and going, "Go get him, Tiger."
No,
Oh,
Tom
I'd
Holland.
freaking have goosebumps.
Tom
bro.
Holland would probably look at Zendaya and be like, I'm sorry, bro.
So you guys did a show together. Now you guys are
Yeah.
doing me together. That's the, you know, like
Are they dating?
Zendaya and Tom.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh
they're
yeah.
still together.
They've been going strong for years.
He
Oh,
did
yeah.
do something though that's gotten people a little pissed off, and that was him recently. They were coming out of the car, and they were getting surrounded as usual. And Zendaya actually stopped to sign stuff, and Tom came back and was slapping shit out of people's hands and just grabbed Zendaya.
You know what?
But you gotta
They're
understand,
really on date night, dude.
Yeah.
they're probably doing something. He's dealing with the 1 year sobriety, so
Yeah,
he's still
he's
getting
recently sober.
So Tom's like
Good
in
for
that point
Tom.
of just like, dude, I just
Yeah.
want to go home.
Because some people do, dude. If you
Guess
watch
what,
his
Tom?
interviews,
There's no
man,
way home.
far from home.
Even fucking Venom found a way to get back to his universe, which is the dumbest thing, dude. From what I saw, like that's
Dude, so
so useless.
Alright, back to Venom, but yeah, so how they did it when they left off, he left a little piece in the MCU, right?
okay.
So how they did it was he gets back into his universe, but the piece gets sucked in with his universe as well.
But they didn't do that in the original clip.
No.
That's
They left it in MCU, but MCU was like, nope, you can take it back. So that piece is in actual Tom Hardy's universe, and the government just puts a cup over it and gets it.
You know what that reminds me of?
Yeah.
You know
So the reason, so how everything goes is that the government, Area 51, aliens, pretty much all that
They're
shit.
shutting it down.
They're shutting it down, but under them is like a facility where they have all the symbiotes, and they've been actually like studying them. And then this one girl who has like, I don't know, a traumatic experience.
I thought that was random.
It was so stupid because she has like
They were trying to make her like a
she ends up making her
like a
own symbiote.
like a co-star.
Yeah, like
Of the
she ends
movie.
up losing her brother to a lightning bolt. Like lightning actually strikes her brother, and it hurts her whole left side. So she actually makes a symbiote that's made out of like this electricity type of shit. And when she actually finally gets on, it's cool because she's made up as Screech, you know, with the
Okay.
long hair.
Yeah.
So that's how it is, but it's not like yellow or yellow and black,
and red.
right? Yeah, right. No,
It's
because
purple.
no, the Screech was fused with Mary Jane first, and it turned into like a yellow / like dark blackish reddish color, almost. Because they showed it in the new game. which
So
they
she
look-
was yellow and red.
Yeah.
They have like a
So-
Fortnite skin for it now. I guess.
Yeah. So
They
what
have
they
for
did
everything
was
now.
it infused with her, and she can fucking run like the Flash, pretty much. And she's made up of electricity, and she's like this pinkish purplish color.
I mean, if they want to go their own route and create something,
It
like
was
that,
just,
it's
but it was
cool,
so,
but
it
at
was
the
just a
same time,
random ass character. It was like a filling character. Like she was just
Yeah.
a filler.
Yeah, and they gave her too much screen time for her trauma.
Yeah, like they were trying to really dive into what actually happened, and
added-
it's
added,
like
a dramatic
it
element.
was like it was a character where you're just like you they didn't really explain her. You don't know who this is,
And all of
and
a
you
sudden
just don't
she's
care.
having flashbacks.
Yeah, and you're just sitting there like, I don't fucking care what happened to you. This is about Venom and Eddie. Like, who gives a fuck about any of these characters?
I hate the fact that Sony has this like tendency to just throw in whatever they want.
They just
You
throw
know,
that.
Like
that's
if you
what they
want to
do.
create a developmental character, that's fine. Nobody
They're
cares. But you have to ease people into it. You can't just make people want to watch
it,
something
yeah.
that they have no interest in. And
That's
again,
it, that's
Sony being all about that
That's
damn
all
money.
They fucking care about. They don't
Yeah.
care about us.
You know?
Where at least MCU is at least trying. And, you know, they've been pretty low. But now that you can see they're at least trying, with Deadpool spiking it back up again, and then Agatha was like perfect too.
Real quick, man, when it comes to that Deadpool movie, I've seen a lot of like reviews and comments where people are talking about like, oh, Deadpool is just like a cash grab for Marvel and all it was fan service. And it's like, people don't know what cameo means.
Yeah, and there was just
Like,
a cameo movie.
Because people clearly don't know what a cameo is. A cameo is like what Stan Lee would do when he would pop up in a quick scene and then he was done in the movie.
These
when
are
Gambit,
characters that you
Blade, and
know
frickin',
about.
Like when Gambit, Blade, and what's her name?
Electra
would
when
pop
they
in.
pop out. These
Like,
are
they're in
characters
the
that have already
movie.
been played by the same people.
Right, they have a
except
good,
for
like, 30,
Gambit.
Yeah,
That was the cameo.
They have like a
They-
30-minute runtime.
That's not even a
That was-
Cameo, because he was there, he had lines, you know.
But still, we
He
didn't
had
know
his own
about it. We didn't
story
know
in a
that
way.
he was actually gonna come out. Or like when Chris came out as Johnny, playing as Johnny.
That
again.
was-
That was gold,
That was
too.
That was a cameo.
I'll tell you,
dude.
Yeah, because he was only in it for. Deadpool said it best. Do you understand how much he's boosting up our budget right now?
Yeah.
Like what he's doing
Chris,
with the budget?
because when you first see him and you hear Chris Evans, you're like, Cap?
Yeah.
And he's even like hyping up as Cap, and then he says flame on. You're like, oh shit, yo, he's playing Johnny again.
So the thing with that is, That wasn't even a cameo because he had more.
Well, we didn't know
plot.
about he was gonna do that.
No,
so
I
it's like
understand.
a
In that
cameo.
moment in time during the movie, that was a cameo.
Because even still, he had a good 10 minutes of runtime.
Yeah, exactly. What I'll tell you
And
was
that was a perfect good like run for him too.
Right, that's
What
all
I'll-
he needed.
What I'll tell you is a cameo was the Calvarine. That was a cameo.
That was a cameo. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
I love that sequence too
Bro,
because they
He
actually
was
show
perfect.
you, like they talk about Old Man Logan.
Yep.
As being like the Logan movie, the last one that he did.
But it's not.
But it's not Old Man
Because
Logan.
they showed Old Man Logan with the
Right,
cowboy hat.
sitting down
That
with the
was
shotgun.
That
That's
was Old Man Logan. Yeah.
You know, and people don't seem to catch on to that.
But
it's like,
with Henry Cavill looking as Wolverine, dude, I think we found our replacement in sometime in the near future too.
and he's still young enough. And
He's
people
still not
complaining
young, yeah.
about the fact that Wolverine's not freaking like 5'6" or 4 or whatever. Who gives a shit?
It's Jackman, and everyone who doesn't care about the comic lore cares who's playing it on the big screen, and everyone's like, it's
Dude,
Jackman.
At one point, they were considering freaking Daniel Radcliffe to play him.
Yeah.
But that's a good choice
Yeah,
too.
but you know what? He was small. In the comics, he was small. So if you want him to be somebody smaller, Daniel Radcliffe's like 5'8".
And everyone thought he was actually going to be playing Patch.
That would have
From the
worked.
behind, we were all expecting him to be Daniel, but it was just you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you look at the movie, man, that whole movie was gold.
It was
And-
a perfect story, and they found their way how to bring him back into it.
Yeah,
Without, well, they actually did fuck up Logan, but that's Deadpool though, because
That was the point.
Yeah.
He's like, we're not going to... You might think that we're going to ruin something beautiful, but we are.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
He's
that's
saying
the
it
point of Deadpool.
Yeah.
You
That's
know?
fucking
they
Deadpool.
They did that brilliantly.
Yeah, it's his humor. It's his.
And
how
then they
he
go in.
coexists
They go
in this.
from Logan, the end scene of Logan, which was like such a tearjerker, and then they go to him during the opening credit scene of him dancing to Bye Bye Bye.
Do you know what the
with
funniest
him,
thing was?
with his skeleton.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Fighting with the
If
skeleton.
you remember this, right? So after Logan came out, they had a fan clip of somebody going up in a Deadpool suit
In a Deadpool
to
shirt,
that
yeah,
damn site.
yeah, and-
So if that wasn't already a part of the movie that they were doing for Deadpool,
That might have
then they
gotten
saw
Reynolds' idea of like,
Yeah.
oh, we can do
they
that.
might have seen that
Yeah.
and been like, you know what?
Just like when
That's
they,
perfect.
Just like that fan footage when they were first coming out with the first Deadpool movie. Remember? Same scene, same everything with them dropping into the guy's van and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they made a fan. Well, that was Reynolds releasing that because
Yeah.
Reynolds knows how to market shit.
He
And
also
does
like
it, and
looks
he's
at the
smart
fans.
about it.
He looks at what the fans are saying, and
And
he's like,
he
you know
actually-
what? He's like, I'm a fan
Me
too.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, we're gonna do that because that's smart.
He's
you know,
a-
people
he's-
want to see that shit.
and
What
you can
about
s-
what about the scene with Thor?
I
Was that
am
a
That's
new
so
shot?
excited.
Everyone is
Is that a new shot that they did?
Yeah.
Or is it?
No,
or they
no,
just
it's the same.
superimposed?
It's the same
Deadpool.
shot, and that's because that's Thor. That's Thor 2, the Into the Darkness, whatever.
The Dark Age.
Yeah, whatever it was, and that was him holding Loki, but they replaced it with him holding Deadpool.
You know what?
Yeah.
If that, and that makes total sense. I was about to say like that has to be like Deadpool
No, they just
joking out
Yeah,
about
they
that.
just screamed
Yeah.
over his face. Yeah, but they even said that's in another universe. That's in another thing.
I love it every time he wakes up and he's like Thor.
Thor, yeah.
You know?
Or like God of Thunder.
Gold.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, man. That Deadpool movie was to me it was perfect.
Was
Perfect.
It had
was the-
moments,
Yeah.
you know, where it could have been touched on a little bit more.
Yeah, like I would have loved to see that Wolverine's universe. We're having him like flashbacks of him walking in to see all the X-Men
Absolutely.
dead.
You know?
Like I would have loved to see that, but I can understand why they didn't show us that.
Like when Xavier's sister's in his head and they're at the grave sites.
Yeah,
I was like, all right, I like that.
that was a good. That was a good
But, like,
whole thing.
They
And-
could have done a background of like those grave sites being built.
and then having him flash to all the movies that we've seen him in.
But you know what? I imagine they only have so much runtime. That movie had been talked about for what, 5 years?
You know what? Knowing them, they might put like, because they did it to Deadpool 2, where you can get the extra extended funny shit.
Once Upon a Deadpool.
That too, where he's
Yeah.
with Fred
Or was
Savage.
that different?
That's different. He's actually doing this whole Princess and the Bride thing when Fred Savage was young and his grandfather's reading him the book.
So
He did it as a grown up in the same like setup, but Deadpool's reading him a book.
But that's not a recut of Deadpool 2?
No, that's just Deadpool fucking
They
around.
just did an extension where they were like.
But
okay,
no,
well,
there's
let's
an
add
extended
Deadpool 2.
Deadpool 2, right?
You
And
know,
I'm sure they'll
I
do.
think
I'm
what-
sure they'll do that with this movie too.
Once Upon a Deadpool that came out around Christmas time and it got a theatrical release.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a 30-minute type of deal, or it's like an hour or something like that. I'm not sure. I've watched it. I thought it was hilarious.
It was kind of like the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
Yeah, it was like
That
that.
was funny too.
That was
I
great.
enjoyed that.
I loved
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
You know, friggin'.
See,
I don't
like
know,
I
man.
said, like Marvel has its ups and then it has its downs.
The fans need to. You guys need to sit the fuck back and just take
chill.
in what they're giving us. Okay,
Yeah, we get
it's
it.
like I understand.
Some of it sucks.
They talk about She-Hulk, and it's like, you know,
that
She-Hulk.
sucked. That
It could have been a hell of a lot better, but it wasn't terrible.
It did what it needed to.
Yeah, because she did the same thing. She broke the fourth wall in the comics. She did that in the show.
Yeah.
It's just everybody is so. The only thing that they did wrong to me was when they introduced Scar. When they
Yeah.
introduced the Hulk son at the end.
yeah.
That was dumb.
That was
why
stupid,
why did
yeah.
they do that at a fucking barbecue?
Yeah,
that made no
was
sense
so
to me.
stupid.
Yeah.
But like,
What was up with his hairline too?
well, that was in the comic.
Yeah,
That was traditional, yeah.
that was in the comics.
You know, they did a lot of things right in that show, and people are just pissed off. But at the same time, it's because they added so much politics into it, and it's like, leave the fucking politics out and just let the fans enjoy what they want to enjoy.
Right.
You know,
That's
stop
good.
making it a
Yeah.
personal thing. Marvel's doing what they need to do.
Yeah.
I think that
Right
them
now, they're
incorporating
doing-
Deadpool and with Agatha all along, dude, people were like, "Oh my god, why am I watching this?" Because they watched one episode, the first episode, and they were like, "Oh my god, it's crap."
I thought
Did you
the
watch
the
the
first
rest?
episode was cool.
I did too,
So
and
did
you know,
I.
like that.
Like it got me interested. I
I would have liked the whole season like that.
Yeah, dude, and the whole damn show, people are like complaining about the kid playing as Wiccan. Why? He did good. Why does anybody care?
He's like when he comes out finally in the whole outfit, I was like, "Yo,
Yeah,
that's
'cause
fucking
that was
sick!"
dope.
That
Yeah,
was cool,
dude.
yeah.
And he resembles to a point, not perfectly, but he has the cheekbones of Wanda. He has like her eyes in a sense. Like he
Yeah.
fit the damn bill, and people are still pissed off.
Yeah.
He did
Oh.
fine.
The way they ended it was perfect. To be honest, I actually like Agatha's ghost version way more.
Yeah,
On the first
She,
episode.
because she
you know what they're
heard the
doing
way
with
she
that, right?
looked was great.
In the last
But
episode.
you know what they're doing
Yeah,
with that,
yeah.
right? Then now they're going off. Obviously,
Obviously, on
they're
the
finding
comics.
Billy.
Yeah, no, Billy.
Tommy,
Yeah,
Tommy,
they're
sorry.
they're finding Tommy.
Dude,
Yeah,
I
'cause
thought it
Billy's
was
in it.
right,
Yeah.
because he's Wiccan, right?
Yes.
I thought it was so cool at the fact that they're like, this is leading up to the new Avengers. Like
It
the,
is.
the
They're
young Avengers.
setting it
That's
all
what
up.
they're leading to.
And if they don't have Spider-Man training them, I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah, he
Because
is supposed to be
Spider-Man
in it.
is supposed to be training the new Avengers.
Yeah, you know, and there's a lot of talk about these shows not being up to snuff. I can't see why.
Agatha
Agatha was great.
Agatha did fine.
The
It was
background
perfect.
that they did in the final episode about her and her son was so,
So good.
damn
And
good.
it was
the
you
fact
felt
that you
it,
find
dude.
out that she created the song, the road was never
Never a
real,
fucking
and
thing.
then you find out
That
totally
Billy
created that whole friggin' thing,
Yeah, he created the road.
and he had no idea.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
made him different from Wanda. That separated him from his mother already because he's not crazy. She was crazy.
Yeah.
She had so much trauma that it just built up, and it created this, like, she created this whole world that she wanted. He created what he thought he needed.
Well,
that
he
was the
created
difference.
it because he thought it was an actual thing.
Yeah.
And everything
It
that
was
they went through
beautiful.
was actually, he looks around his room and it's all pictured what he has in his room.
Didn't Billy that wasn't Billy's flesh, right? It was just
So
his soul.
It was
so
just
so
his
so
soul.
so Death. The reason why Death wants Billy is because Billy's not supposed to exist at all. He's supposed to be
He
dead. He's supposed to
essentially
be
was-
erased from that whole
He was just a
creation.
manifestation.
Yeah. So somehow Billy,
He
found someone that he could latch onto,
Mhm.
because at that time the kid, he was pretty much dead.
Well, and what at the very end of the show of WandaVision, when she's off in that little valley and she's sitting in the house, and she's going through the book.
Yeah.
All you hear in the background once the
It's-
credits
it's
start to
the
roll
kids,
is the
and
kids going, "Mommy!"
Mommy, yeah.
You know?
So there is
There was
Billy and
something-
Tommy out there in the other universes.
And all they were thinking was, okay, well, you know, then Doctor Strange movie's gonna come out, Multiverse of Madness. That was a terrible movie, but freaking Multiverse of Madness comes out. It had decent plots to kind of lead the rest of this movie's
I
after.
liked how they put John Krasinski's
that
Reed
was
Richards.
I have to say something
I was
about
so
that
pissed
character.
though.
How is the smartest man in the entire Marvel fucking universe, at least as a human, going to sit there and tell the person who's going to kill all of them, all he has to do is open his mouth?
And then that gives Wanda the most opportunity to be like,
he literally is the reason that they all die.
Yeah.
It's like the smartest man in
like,
Marvel is the reason that this person, like, they all died.
That
Why?
that movie was not received well at all.
No.
And you know what? I feel like they don't give, whenever Sam Raimi's involved in something, after Spider-Man 2, they did not give him enough reins to do what he wants to do.
Because
And that's
you
where
see
he
that
messes
in
up.
Spider-Man 1 and 2 where you give him what he wants to do.
Spider-Man 2 was considered one of the best superhero movies of all
in
time.
that time era,
Yeah. So, like, think about it. Then Part 3 comes out, and they're like, oh, well, no, we want this villain, this villain, this villain. It's like, that's too
and
much.
Sam was like, yo, no, I wanted to put maybe Mysterio in there.
Because it worked.
And
Because
give,
what's
and
his name?
Venom.
What's his name from, oh my God.
Doc Ock.
No, the guy who...
The guy that wanted to play Mysterio.
The Usher.
The Usher.
The Usher in Part 2.
The announcer, the wrestler.
He was
and then in Spider-Man 3, he was also in it.
He was in the...
he played the French dude.
Bruce.
Bruce
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the fact that he was going to play, he was
He was
going
gonna
to
play
play
Mysterio
because he was
that was-
different people in every movie.
one, yeah.
That's what they were doing.
And that's why they put him in
Yeah,
that
man, it was
universe
gonna be
in Doctor
great.
Strange.
So
And
they were dropping like little Easter eggs.
yeah.
Sam
And
Raimi is a genius.
He is.
They just don't give him the free reins to do what the fuck he wants, and it kills me because if you think about it, did you know they had a script and a playthrough like of the script, like the images
They
that they
even
drew
have
out
an
of
interview.
Part 4
Yeah,
for
and
Toby.
Yeah, and Toby's even like there's an interview of Toby explaining about Spider-Man 4 and
Dude,
what they had for.
Do you know
had
who was
planned
going to play Vulture? John Malkovich.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would have been
Perfect.
incredible. He was old enough at the time to still like move around and kind of be active, but also old enough to be that creepy old man.
Exactly.
And he's a fucking incredible actor. Have you guys ever seen the what the hell is the book called? Death of a Salesman?
Mhm.
So they did a live action, like it was a play.
Yeah, they
But
played
they-
it for us in
Yeah,
school.
yeah,
that,
you remember that?
He
And
also
played
did the
as
in Of Mice and Men too.
Yeah,
he
and
played
he was
the brother.
He was well, he wasn't his brother. He wasn't his brother.
He was the big guy.
Yeah, he was.
That was his brother.
I can't
Because the
remember
guy
his right
who
now.
did it was Gary. He was Lieutenant Dan.
No, they weren't brothers. They were just best, like very close friends.
I thought they were brothers.
No, man.
No. Okay.
But
going back to
He played the
Vulture.
he played the one that got killed at the end, right?
Yeah.
well, and he played Biff in Death of a Salesman for the play.
Yep.
And if you look at everything that John Malkovich has done,
He's
the man's
perfect
never
at
had a
it.
flop.
No.
In my opinion, he's never had a
Have you
flop.
ever seen being John Malkovich?
No.
When they go into there's a movie where these two random people they find a portal that goes into John Malkovich's brain.
That's cool. That's really cool.
It came out in 1999.
No shit.
It's called Being John Malkovich.
Dude, the guy is. If they had let him play the Vulture and do what they wanted to do, he didn't need to be a big bad for the film.
No.
But they could have added, instead of having 3 like the third one did, they could have had 2 main villains, and he could have been the secondary who was just actively like coming back and kind of holding him off from what he needed to do.
No, actually, no. The Vulture was actually supposed to be the main villain. Mysterio was just the filler.
But I mean, I guess that makes sense because like Mysterio is really just an illusionist, so like that's what he's gonna do. And Vulture is really like an active like monster, you know.
So,
I don't know, man. It would have been good.
yeah, Spider-Man 4
Yeah.
would have been great.
When do you think it would have been released? Like
Maybe like
2010?
2009, maybe
I think
2010, because the
Part
last
3
one
came out in 07.
In 07, yeah.
Yeah,
so
so-
maybe 09, 010.
Because in the Spider-Man contracts, if I remember reading it correctly, it was like every 3 years a new Spider-Man movie would come out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it would have fit.
And then when I remember seeing it the summer of 2011, I think it was Horrible Bosses or Transformers.
The first one?
The third one.
Yeah.
And I saw the trailer for the new Spider-Man.
The new Spider-Man.
And I'm like, this is fucking stupid. Why don't they just have
Toby come out? Yep. And
because he wanted way too much money.
Yeah.
That's what they say. I don't know if that's true.
I remember
But, like,
seeing the trailer.
Going back to
where-
John, before you get that,
Yeah.
before we strayed too far away from John Malkovich,
I think we strayed far away from we were talking
We're
about
talking
Marvel.
about Agatha. We're talking about Agatha.
We
Boys
were,
of
yeah.
Spider-Man.
The
bro.
boys episode, guys.
this is all about.
This is ADHD at its finest.
Yes.
Insane in the half brain, this is how we are.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it.
The three of us make it a 75% brain, but
My asshole makes the whole brain go round.
what?
What? So, I had this
I don't
friend.
memorize the shit that comes out of my head into my mouth.
I had this friend. He had a stepfather who was of Puerto Rican descent, and this stepfather happened to go to a new doctor. My friend was telling me.
He went to a new doctor?
A new doctor.
Oh,
not
I
a
thought you
new
said a
doctor.
nude doctor.
Kyle.
Well, I want
A
that
new
doctor.
doctor. And the doctor said to him, mind you, this guy was Puerto Rican, just typical, and he said, has anyone told you that you look like John Malkovich? Who is the most un-Puerto Rican looking person out there.
There are a lot of lighter skinned Hispanic men.
When you go to the actual island yourself, you see a lot of European looking.
Yeah, well, Relly tells me that all the time too. She's like, I don't know why people are always acting like it's just a bunch of brown people. She's like, do you guys understand how multicultural the island is?
It's extremely multicultural.
Yeah, I don't understand the hate about it.
I'd love to go to
all this
PR,
crap
man.
going on now on the news. It's stupid.
Yeah. So Agatha all along was good. You guys enjoyed it. Peter watched it more than me. Believe it or
I
not.
loved Agatha.
I thought it was great.
He
I
had it
like
on.
this-
He watched it every week, and I just would see it in passing.
Yo, I liked it so much that I actually started it again.
Did you really?
Yeah, I already
Yeah,
started it
Because
again.
I imagine now, though, I imagine now you're going to see way more
yeah.
than you did in your first run through.
But it's just the way they ended it sets up because now Tommy's out there, and the way they even got how to figure out how Tommy gets in there was great. Because they're at the very end of the road, and it's actually Agatha's basement, and it was like this. I don't know. It was like this futuristic space thing, and they have a clock that's counting down.
Oh wow!
Oh, are you talking about for the final trial?
For the final trial, yeah.
Okay.
So how they get it was Billy is thinking he's actually seeing people out there, and he finds one that's pretty much almost dying, or actually does die because he ends up falling in the pool and drowning.
Well, he was pushing the pool.
He was pushing the pool,
The
yeah.
kid was getting bullied.
He was getting bullied.
It
So
was
he
Jason
finds-
Voorhees,
but he asked the question, am I killing this boy to allow my brother to live?
Which episode was that?
That was the second to last
yeah, that
episode.
It was a good
But
show,
You
man.
think it was a coincidence that it was the same episode count as
Was it WandaVision? Yeah.
9 episodes?
Yeah.
I don't
Which
think it
makes
was a
sense
coincidence
because
I
it's the
think
same thing. It's like
it's
the-
essentially a
same
direct
format.
sequel.
It's a direct, yeah.
It's like a direct sequel.
And
I mean,
they're supposed to be doing another WandaVision, I guess, somehow.
I don't know if it's
No,
going to be WandaVision.
they're not
but-
doing WandaVision. They're bringing back the White Vision. He's getting his own show finally, so we can finally
Do
see
you
what
remember
he's
that
been up
scene
to.
where everyone thought that it was going to be this guy, it was going to be that guy? Oh, they were bringing in Hugh Jackman, or they were bringing Professor X or Magneto.
They were
to the
bringing in
last episode.
freaking Mephisto.
Yeah.
Oh my
The last
god,
episode.
the Mephisto
Mephisto
theories,
thing,
man.
And
but
the
they
inter-
finally mention him in Agatha.
Yeah, I know. But the interview.
What was the scene in? I think it was in Deadpool in the new movie when they're getting ready for the final showdown. You actually see him disappear real quick. I'm pretty sure that's Mephisto.
No, that
wasn't him.
No, that was the red dude that does the same thing as Nightcrawler.
Oh, that
Yeah,
makes more
that's
sense.
his
yeah.
dad, actually.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Who's
Yeah.
that?
So the
Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler's
Oh,
dad
yeah, it's his dad.
was the red dude in First Class.
It sucks though because like
Because you
Nightcrawler's
see-
background, he was like retconned like 7-8 times, dude. Like
Yeah.
Nightcrawler's
Yeah.
such a good character too,
Yeah.
dude. Like they undergo him, and same with Iceman too.
oh
They
yeah,
go under. You know, Iceman can actually. He's so strong. He could actually freeze the whole planet if he wanted to.
Wow. What about so in that interview I mentioned remember Paul Bettany, the guy who played
Mhm.
Vision?
Mhm.
He was saying, "Yeah, I never did a scene with this guy, with this actor. I'm very excited to see it." Everyone was speculating who it was going to be. It was going to be Mephisto. It was going to be
And it was Peter.
no, it was himself.
Oh,
It was
yeah,
himself
yeah,
when he was
yeah,
doing
yeah,
when he was
the
doing
thing.
He was
Vision
trolling.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was trolling us.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, he that man's another genius. Though.
He is. He
He-
really
like,
is.
Remember that movie he did, Legion? I think it was.
That was lead.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you remember the movie he did, Priest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
You didn't
one.
see that movie?
No,
Yeah,
I
dude,
didn't see
it's
that one.
that's like one of those movies that I think were made before its time, because it
There
was
was
a
a
good
lot of-
movie and it had a good like.
I wanna say this because I think I was trying to say it a little bit earlier.
Mhm.
So about Deadpool and about Agatha all along,
Yeah,
they introduce Mistress Death.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
They
Talk
bring
about
her in.
Mistress that the girl that played her,
Aubrey Plaza.
she was the perfect.
Love Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah.
Me too.
Not
man.
that
Aubrey
because
Plaza for
she's-
me is like Lady Gaga
yeah,
for you.
not
man.
not because she's just
Coincidentally, dude, if they did a Lady Gaga movie, I
She
think
could
Aubrey
play it.
Plaza could
Yeah,
play
Aubrey
her.
could play her. Yeah.
Dude,
I
they
wouldn't
have
be
the
surprised.
same eyes.
You know who I would honestly pick? I forget her name, but she's the one who played in Split as the brunette girl that was like
Oh.
aware.
As
Yeah.
Lady Gaga?
Because if you look at her, right? So she's
I
fit
don't
like her.
know.
I think
She-
Aubrey Plaza, man.
Yeah, I agree.
They
For that
have
kid,
the
like
same
that
eyes,
goofiness.
bro.
Yeah.
I guess, but you gotta like look at it, right? So that girl's multifaceted. She's also multicultural. So like
She played that Russian chick in the new.
and she's
the new
actually
X-Men.
She's Hispanic.
Yeah.
She's I don't remember exactly what culture she is, but she's Hispanic.
Yeah.
You know, her dad is, I think, I don't want to say it incorrectly, and you know.
Now talking about Mistress Death or Lady Death, wherever you want to go
Well,
about her.
let me leave this one, right? So like the thing about that got me when I saw that they wanted to bring out Aubrey Plaza, and they did, and they made her Lady Death. I was like, that's great. She's a great fit.
She
But
was.
if you talk
Perfect.
about Deadpool, they could have just easily made his girlfriend in the movie Mistress Death
Yeah,
because it would have made sense.
it would have made sense, but they didn't.
They didn't do it, and there's no problem with it. The movie was still freaking great, right? But like, all three of them, they were freaking awesome.
Dude, we'll
But-
get it. We'll get it, man. Because when Agatha and her were making out, I saw it in my mind. I'm like,
I
there's
can
gonna be.
tell that there was sexual attraction just from
Yeah,
the
no,
first episode.
but I was like,
Well, they
in
even
my,
said they dated, yeah.
yeah. But I was like in my mind, I was like, there's gonna be a day where Deadpool is gonna be doing that.
But here's the
Which
thing.
is, well,
They've
death
already-
is so the
They
reason
already
why
passed up the opportunity.
but they can still do it though.
Yeah, but then that would retcon everything that has
that's
to do
what
with Infinity
that's
War.
what Marvel does though.
Because
They,
I don't know if
they
you know this,
retcon
right?
and they don't retcon at the same time.
It's true.
Yeah.
Do you know the actual like reason that Thanos was trying to kill half the universe?
It was because he's trying to impress Death.
Yeah, because he was in love with Lady
Yeah.
Death, and
He ends up dying,
he right,
and
and he wanted to kill half the universe to impress her. But she was in love with Deadpool because she
Yeah.
could never have Deadpool.
she
'cause he
can't.
can't
She can't. Yeah, she can't kill Deadpool.
Right.
And that's why
So
she
that
started.
was Lady Death, Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah,
She
Aubrey
was
Plaza
lit-
is
she-
Death.
Is one of the actual celestial beings, dude.
Yeah,
The fact that they included her in the final fight scene in the second to last episode,
Mhm.
Agatha gets shot back and she's like talking to freaking Billy and she's like, "This is pointless. This is futile." She's like, "We're not gonna win
Yeah, well,
because
she,
there's no
she-
freaking way."
Before they got even off the road and shit, she made a deal with Death. Was like, all right, you can have Billy. I'll give you Billy.
You know what I loved
But
about
she
that?
But
part?
she
sacrifices
ends up sacrificing herself. The
You know
kiss of death.
You know what I love about that scene when the two of them are talking, when like Death walks over to the friggin' back and she just cuts into the damn
Yeah, how she just gets out.
because that doesn't just show that she's powerful enough to escape or get out of his
That
little,
just shows
his
how
little
like she
ruse.
can go wherever she wants.
It's that she was fully aware the whole time that it was bullshit.
Bullshit.
And
Yeah.
I loved that, dude. I thought that was
she
so
knew
awesome.
the road didn't exist because she knew Agatha anyway.
She
knew she was
knew
killing.
who created it.
Yeah.
Because it was all between her son, Nicholas,
Yeah.
and Agatha.
And
They're the ones who came up with the road. All it was a ploy.
Yeah.
That's all it was the whole time. She just wanted to kill more
she
people.
even admits that when she got her new coven, she was like, "Yo, I was gonna straight up kill all of you."
I thought it was pretty evil how they revealed that Agatha has done this for
Centuries.
Hundreds of years.
Yeah, she did it
Yeah,
for
man.
centuries, dude.
But you know what? It's genius because that's why, and throughout the first like 5 episodes, they continuously call her a mass murderer.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, she's a serial killer
Yeah.
because she was. She was a
is,
serial killer
yeah.
of witches.
Yeah.
Like-
she's. I know this was her show and Agatha all along, but
To
is
be
she
honest,
a bad
I
guy
think-
or a good guy in the grand scheme of things?
At the very
At
end,
at the end,
At
I would
the
say
end,
she's more of a,
she's-
she's more neutral.
she's like a anti-hero.
Yeah.
Because at the very end, when she's a ghost, she's accepting the fact that she still can't confront her son because Billy's actually trying to like banish her for good,
Yeah,
and she doesn't. She can't because she's like, I'm not ready to face him.
I forget because it's been almost 4 years going on now. What was Agatha's role in WandaVision? I know she was her.
She was Aunt Agnes.
She wanted Wanda's power because
Yeah.
of how strong she was.
So she sensed.
She sensed
She
that there
knew
was
the whole
another.
time
Yeah,
it was
she
fake.
sensed there was another witch there, and she just jumped into it
She
because
just
she
didn't.
could.
She didn't know definitively that
That
she
she was
the
going to
Scarlet
end up
Witch.
being the Scarlet Witch. Yeah.
Right.
Oh.
So she knew that she was powerful.
Yeah.
And she could sense her power.
And she wanted
And she
that.
wanted
power.
that.
Yeah.
And when she realized that it was all a ruse, she was like, "Okay, well, I'm going to play into it."
Yeah.
And that's where she came out as Aunt Agnes, and she was
And that's why she kept doing that.
right. And she was
Right.
Wanda's best friend. And then as the episodes progressed, and the kids are obviously jumping up like 3, 4, 5 years at a time. I think they end at like 8 or 9 years old.
Yeah.
They're like older. They're kids. They're almost preteens.
Mm-hmm.
She reveals herself to later be Agatha. And it was genius. I don't care what anybody says, man. People can be all butthurt about the freaking Mephisto thing not happening. Who cares? Because it didn't need to happen. Look at everything that's happened since.
We'll get Mephisto eventually.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Because like Mephisto is one of those characters that you want to introduce when it's really necessary.
The right time.
Yeah,
And
because
I think
he was the devil that you made a deal with when you needed something.
Yeah.
Introduce the Ghost Rider first, and then bring in
And then
Mephisto.
Yeah, 'cause they
I
go hand in
totally
hand,
agree.
right?
Yeah, I
Because
totally fucking agree.
Mephisto is a Ghost Rider, one of the movies, right?
No,
No, he
No.
wasn't in the movies, but he is in the comics. He's
He
a
is in the
prominent figure in the
comics,
comics. At
yeah.
one point, like,
because Ghost Rider even takes up the throne of hell.
yeah.
And he's the
Who
ruler
do you
of
think's
hell.
gonna replace Ghost Rider? Tom Hardy?
What do you mean?
Nah,
Like,
you know what?
To be a future actor for it?
I would love to see Norman. Norman Reedus.
Oh yeah.
I'll give you that. Yeah, hell yeah.
Perfect. He's a perfect. He could play it, or you know what? Yeah, do that. Have Norman Reedus, and you know what they did in the first movie with Nicholas, right? Nicholas Cage, and then they had the
My mind was still on that
guy.
all along.
They had the older guy riding the horse, and he ends up being a Ghost Rider. Do that the same thing. Have Nicolas Cage come in and show him that
Pass
he's
along.
actual Ghost Rider. Yeah.
Well, you know what? The guy who played as him in the I forget the name of the show, but the Marvel show that they did.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.,
Agents
yeah.
of S.H.I.E.L.D. He was great.
He was a good Ghost
He
Rider.
could honestly
Is
continue
that
on.
canon?
I think they took it off of being canon. It was initially going to be,
Yeah.
but like, and
they haven't really said anything about it.
it could be.
It could.
but-
You know what's canon now though is the Daredevil show, and they just released a
Yes.
trailer for it.
Loving the fact
Yeah.
the fact that
They
he's
brought
in
that-
that
they-
suit, man.
Yeah. He's got his red suit
Matt
again. They don't have
fucking
that
Murdock.
golden red. Even though that's an actual thing, his red suit's always gonna be the badass.
It's the
one.
best
Yeah.
I love
And-
Daredevil,
and-
man. That's
Yeah.
such a good show.
And the reason they have him coming back as Daredevil, I
They're
don't
not
think.
retconning that whole show
No,
at
no,
all,
they're just continuing it.
which is
And they
beautiful.
even said that this is going to be even violenter than the one we got on Netflix.
It's gonna have a lot more like.
It's going to be way more
It's
intense.
gonna be more intricate.
I didn't
think,
watch
too, because
Echo.
they're gonna have that.
Did you?
I thought Echo was good.
I didn't
I'll-
watch it.
You know what? It was slow. It was
slow.
slower. The last
Yeah.
3 episodes were great.
I watched like maybe the first 2, and then I was like,
Nah,
I
man,
can't-
you gotta finish it, bro.
it-
After you get past that mark, it's like
can't
watching
do
Gotham.
slow shows,
It was
man.
like watching Gotham, though. You gotta get past like the first 3 or 4 episodes. After that, it was great.
Loved Gotham.
I thought it was
Gotham
awesome,
was
dude.
great,
At first,
too.
I hated on it. I talked shit about it to everybody,
Bro,
and then I
remember
continued
when-
it, and I'm
when
like,
we were living
damn.
in that apartment, like where Cody was on the bottom of us.
Oh, when I was on the 3rd floor, yeah.
And when you were living there, whenever we would have a day off, he'd throw on Gotham and be like, "Bro, have you seen this show?" He's like, "It's so fucking good."
The way that they ended that shit was bullshit, though.
What? I
It
loved
was
it.
bullshit.
I loved it.
You did not have to make Jerome end up becoming, or Jeremiah, sorry.
He was the
become-
Joker,
Oh, bite me. He wasn't the Joker. He was a joke. That's all he was.
bro.
Come on,
They
dude.
obviously
Like-
let him up to be the Joker. He was the Joker.
They turned him in to something that was not the Joker, dude. He wasn't even Jack Nicholson's Joker at the end. He was basically just this
I
knockoff.
still-
Who
yeah,
was
I
like,
thought
I
he was-
look like I got burned, but I didn't.
I still thought he was a great
No,
character.
honestly, Jerome, spot on, dude. I was
Yeah,
like,
his
you know
brother.
what? Yeah, the initial like attempt at Joker, because they didn't have the rights, so they couldn't call him the Joker.
Yeah.
But he was great.
Yeah.
Cameron Monaghan did
Fantastic.
phenomenal
Yeah.
as him.
Like even when he ripped off his face.
Oh
and
my
did
God,
all
he
that,
stapled
he
it
just
back
stapled
on.
it back on.
Because
Yeah,
that was
it
New 52.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
New 52. It was
Yeah.
so damn good.
It was so good.
When they decided they were going to kill him off, but the way they switched it over, I was like, I like that. Because that was the Jack Nicholson. When Jeremiah became Jack Nicholson's Joker, in a sense. They didn't play off of the movie, but they
Yeah.
really did a good job at, like, kind of
maybe hinting
like
at it. Or
fan
something.
service in
Yeah.
a sense, you know?
Yeah.
Jerome was a damn good Heath Ledger. I considered him similar, not as good.
You know what?
Similar to
I don't
Heath
think
Ledger.
I don't think I'd give Cameron like anything. He was his own Joker. He was his own take on
But
it.
when he was playing Jeremiah,
Yeah.
you can't take away that he had that Jack Nicholson.
He had the Jack Nicholson thing, and I think that was his inspiration, to be honest.
Yeah,
he was
100%.
really trying to go for the Jack Nicholson.
It's just they
Joker.
killed it at the end for me. When in that final scene they knock him into the vat of acid. It's like
Yeah.
that could have been done from the
Yeah,
start.
that I
Like-
agree with. Like if you were trying to go with the Jack Nicholson thing,
Because
play it
that's
off
what
as
happens
him,
in the
yeah,
damn
that-
comics
that-
anyway.
and in the,
You know?
the first
You know what I
movie,
loved
too.
about
Right.
that show is they did such a low key way of doing it, but they did like a Batman villain and like
And every like
Yeah,
season,
yeah.
they
did.
the way they brought up the Riddler
that
was
was
perfect.
I feel like
the
that show
Penguin
was
was
ahead of its
perfect.
time.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, they could have been
Penguin
more with the Penguin.
Was good. He was probably my favorite
guy that-
character
yeah.
on the show.
Yeah, the guy
But-
that played him was
Not mine.
fantastic.
He didn't. He didn't look the part. That was
That
the
was the only
issue.
part. Yeah.
Otherwise, he was great.
I liked
The girl that was Catwoman.
yeah.
Gold.
Oh, so
Gold.
good.
They
Yeah.
must-
Selena
And
Kyle.
then
man,
they
yeah.
had her.
Edward Nigma. Dude, Nick,
The guy that
I'll
played.
give you that. I'll actually rescind what I said. Because the guy who played as
Because it
Nigma
was such a slow burn.
great.
Yeah, no,
He was
he's
great.
perfect as Riddler.
Because he
should still
He was in the
play
background,
Riddler in
100%.
anything.
he was in the background for the longest
Yeah,
amount of
and
time.
then he comes
He
out as a
knew
psycho.
everything about the damn Gotham Central, like Gotham PD. He
Yeah.
knew everything because he
It
was
took what,
there.
like 2 or 3 seasons even to get him as a Riddler.
Yeah.
I think it was 4.
Four,
yeah.
yeah, or 4 or
But
5
as-
was like where you really see him.
But as
the
soon
Riddler.
as that show started, you knew that he was going to be
Be the Riddler, yeah.
His name was Edward
Enigma, yeah. So we're like, all right.
Honestly, I'll give you guys that. Even in the beginning, I didn't care for what's his name. I'm sorry that I don't remember a lot of these actors' names. I apologize for that. But like, the guy who played as Gordon, at first I didn't care for
I
him.
didn't care for him either. It
As
was
it
like
progressed,
the
I liked
third.
him.
It was
Yeah.
like the third season where
With
I
arms
started.
wide open.
And my favorite person who
He
will
looked
ever
like the
play
guy from that play that sings for Creed.
a little bit, Scott Stapp.
As soon as I started watching Gotham, bro. And that's
Yeah, I
right
remember
when
you
was-
saying that
right
shit.
when I was
Yo.
getting
With
into
Batman open.
Creed. With wings wide open.
No, but honestly, like Gotham as a whole, I don't know how many things we just went through, but Gotham as a whole
We're going through so
was good. I don't even know if people are going to be able to follow this episode. I'm sorry, guys.
Like I said, ADHD, insane in the half brain.
We came up with a list. We had a list of what we were going to talk about. I don't know if we followed too much of it.
What happens when you get?
And we haven't even got to number 2.
We haven't.
No.
Dude,
What
we've
was
been
number
talking about
two?
Marvel for
Okay.
like half an hour.
Well, let's jump to number 2 then. All right.
All right.
Marvel just released a bunch of trailers.
Trailers, yeah. We
Still
got
on
we
Marvel.
got the
Daredevil. Born Again, Wonder Man.
Wonder Man.
That
I'm
looks
not
pretty
really-
Dude, I think it's going to be good.
I'm not really excited about it, but it
I
does
think it's
look
gonna be
good.
cool.
Yeah, man.
It does look good. I like the way it was shot.
And then they have that guy that reprises Trevor from Iron Man 3.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What was the Iron... The
Ironheart.
It's going to be good.
It's gonna be badass.
It's going to be
because
great,
the way they did it in she was in Black Panther 2, right?
Yes.
Yeah. The way they did her in Black Panther 2, it was cool, but it wasn't what I wanted.
Yeah, it didn't have the same vibe
No.
that it should have had.
Riri something, right?
Something like I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't really follow that whole comic series, but the show
She's
it
from Iron
looks
Man.
badass.
Yeah.
She gets her inspiration from obviously Tony.
But she's a genius.
She
So it
is,
works.
yeah. No, she's
You know, because like they kill off friggin' Tony Stark. You know, Robert Downey Jr. is no longer Iron Man. Whatever, that's fine. He will always be Iron Man. He's doomed now, dude. And you know what? Screw you guys. Not really. I love you guys. But in all sincerity, who else would you really want to see play him right now?
Is he playing a variant though?
No.
He's got so in the
No,
comics,
he's
right?
actually Doom.
It makes sense because there's a
It would make sense.
there's like a what if essentially that they did in the comics.
Yeah,
where
he
they
transfers
were-
his soul into Tony Stark.
Right, because
so,
they were roommates in college.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. It's going to be
And it
cool.
was
And
at
people
that-
don't read the comics. They just want the damn story the way it was.
Yeah.
That's what
But
it
it
is.
was at that point where Doom was like an extreme sorcerer, and he knew how to do pretty much whatever he could do.
He was
Like,
so
he was
intelligent.
excelled from Doctor Strange. He could have been the craziest
And that's why
sorcerer
Victor
supreme if
Victor
he
Von
wanted
Doom,
to.
that's why he in when you read the comics, dude, Victor is one of those villains that when he comes around, people don't want to deal with him.
Yeah,
Because he is
he's
too damn good.
strong. He's too damn OP, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
man.
there's a
When-
comic
when
where
he
he
gets the
goes.
Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
man,
ridiculous.
that was like holy crap.
I was about
like,
to say, like,
this is the end of times. Like,
there's a comic where he literally goes up to Doom, like Thanos, and Thanos was like, "Yo, you ain't shit, bro." And he literally just puts his hand through his stomach and disintegrates
he
him.
literally
like that.
rips his shit out
And
and
he's
he just
like-
melts.
Yeah, and he's like,
He's
"Ah,
done.
such a pity." He throws it and grabs the gauntlet.
It's
bro.
just like
that-
Kang.
yeah.
It's like Kang in the comics. Kang
Kang
at one point
just,
they're
like-
fighting and he like talks smack to Thanos and Thanos is like, Who do you think you are? How dare you? Do you know
And
who I am? And he
Kang-
grabs him, reverses time, and literally disintegrates him
Like,
with seconds.
Thanos is a good villain, but he's not OP like those.
Well, in the
characters.
comics,
in the
he
comics
was.
he was,
Like
yeah.
like
but
King
not like
Thanos.
that though.
King Thanos though, that's a little bit like he one-shotted Galactus, bro. He one-shotted Galactus in the comics.
Yeah.
Let's get like if we had old Thanos when he became King Thanos, that's
Yeah,
OP as shit. He one-shots Galactus.
So did Cap.
Yeah,
Punch
but
him
he
right
just
in the
punched him in
face,
the
bro.
jaw, and Cap punches him in the jaw, and Galactus is like, "Oh, well, you're stronger than I thought you were, but
Yeah.
fuck off," you know.
What about
Like some-
Yeah.
well, you gotta think of it this way. He was the first major villain.
Who? Galactus?
No.
Oh, damn.
Talking about in
Thanos for
the
MCU.
cinematic
And for the
universe.
MCU, yeah, because
Yeah.
they
So-
built that
so
all up.
each
to
one,
the toy
each
show.
one that comes after is gonna be stronger.
Twice
You know what I
as-
hope they
But
do?
we're not getting
What
Kang
happened
now.
with
That's-
Kang though?
We're not getting him.
I know.
So what they were going to do was they're building up the Kang dynasty and
Because at the at the end of the
but
third Ant-Man
but,
movie,
but because of the actor and his what
the
he-
things that happened outside of the film.
they were like, all right, well, let's bring in
Controversies.
Doom.
Too much controversy. For
So we're gonna get
Marvel.
Doom. Now we're getting Doomsday, and
Was
it's,
Doom at all mentioned in Loki?
No.
no, Doom has not been mentioned at all, which is why we're getting the Fantastic Four, because they'll probably bring.
I
him
mean,
in.
they were going to do the Fantastic Four anyway, because at
Yeah.
the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, You see him flying, going through the city, and you see
the Baxter building.
Right.
What we
because
think
he
was
buys.
the Baxter building.
It has to be. You see that orange figure walking across, and that's the thing.
The Baxter building. Yeah.
That's the thing.
Really?
It has to be. If you watch the movie over again and you see that part, if you look down,
there's like a little, there's a big yellow spot that's just walking, and it's like, who else? Right?
Other than the thing. But they haven't done enough background. But what I like about this, right, is if that is the case, and that was him, this Fantastic Four movie is based back in like the 60s.
So this Fantastic Four is in a different universe, actually. It's in a universe where it's like in the 60s, but it's advanced 60s technology.
Everybody is
like it's futuristic 60s.
Everybody's so excited about what's his name playing Reed.
Pedro.
I love Pedro.
Yo, I have every high hopes.
Richards, man.
I have good hopes. Dude, he's a fantastic actor.
I didn't think he was gonna be good for Joel.
And look what happened. I was like, yo.
So I'll probably be wrong because Kyle did. He looked at me and he told me straight up. He was like, yo, it's gonna be great.
He's gonna be fine.
And I'm like, whatever, man.
He
fine.
fell in love with him.
And
I did. The first episode, he called me up. He's like, bro, you were right.
I did.
I was like, yo, I told you.
Him and I go so back and forth with these. Like, every time there's a new Spider-Man movie out, dude, we ruined No Way Home for ourselves. We predicted every single thing in that movie.
Like, Aurelie was to the point where she's like, guys, you need to stop.
She did. That's my wife that he's talking about. Yeah. So, like,
I would go over his house every day because I had a new idea about it. So did he.
Or he would like call me and he'd be like, "Dude." Or I'd go, do you remember when I predicted the whole thing? Because there was huge theories online talking about the X-Men somehow coming in because it was
yeah.
And I remember I looked at you and I was like, "There's gonna be a scene somehow in this movie. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but they're gonna end up on the Eiffel Tower. I'm sorry, Eiffel Tower, Statue of Liberty. And it's gonna be like that's how they're gonna introduce the X-Men. It didn't happen, but they ended up on the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, dude,
he looked at me. He's like, "How the fuck did you know that?" I was like, "I don't know. I don't know."
Aurelie was to the point where she's like, you guys are ruining the movie for yourselves.
Shit, because it's not like we were talking to anybody else about it.
It's just us, bro.
So let's do a 180. Crown Jewel happened yesterday.
That sucked.
Yeah.
I agree, bro.
It was the matches were like 10 minutes.
It felt like 10 minutes.
Yeah, dude.
The only one that actually piqued my interest was the Bloodline and all that because I love Roman.
Sami Zayn coming out.
Sami Zayn, yeah.
And that was
Sami Zayn. No, Sami Zayn coming out. That was cool. Yeah.
One thing I didn't like about it, I thought it was kind of stupid that the first time that they gave the OG Bloodline finally.
Yeah, he didn't even dap him up and do the whole handshake.
Not that. That's gonna come. But there's already drama happening. In how he kicked Roman.
I think it's all gonna end up like I was talking because RJ came over like I told you, right? So like I'm watching that match with him, and he's saying the same thing. He's like, "This is all fake." He's like, "This is not going to end up happening like this." Sami's going to go on Roman's side, but why? When the other day he was just talking about how much he shouldn't even be involved in it. He was just telling Jay not to even get involved. Why is he going to get involved now? Why is he joining Roman's side when he didn't want to? Why was he outside talking to Solo? I'm telling you, it was a ruse. It was planned out because Solo, they're going to play it like this, watch. Solo knew that Roman was going to strike, so Sami struck at the same time and hit Roman. And Jimmy is the only one who figured it out. And now, instead of it being Jay supporting Sami, it's going to be Jimmy going against Sami. It's just going to be this whole crazy dichotomy between them. And you know what? I hope it works out. And I hope that it plays out to be like a spectacle like the Bloodline has been. But at the same time, the Bloodline had down moments for like a year and a half after like WrestleMania 39. You know? So hopefully it's good.
Yeah. What did you think of, I liked how Roman was pinned by Solo. I thought that was a very cementing moment.
That needed to happen.
So, and then I think your boy Cody's match was kind of boring, dude.
I shut it off. I love Cody. Cody's my favorite wrestler, but the whole thing was boring. And I was like, dude,
I thought the ending was anticlimactic.
I already knew
Bret Hart.
I already knew who was gonna win, dude. I knew Cody was gonna get that. You know, because they're trying to set it up as the Roman thing. Like two-time champ. He's got the 2 belts now.
Yeah, he doesn't. He has a ring.
Yeah,
he has a Super Bowl ring. He has a Super Wrestler ring now. That's what I'm gonna call it.
But still like having a belt around you or a second belt around you. To me, it does.
I have to say something that made me laugh is like I know that out in like Arabia they're very particular. Like men have a role, women have a role. But did you see the size difference in those belts?
Bro, those belts are huge, dude.
But did you see?
Like when you see Liv holding up the belt, I was like, bro, that's fucking bigger than her.
But if you look at the belts next to each other,
yeah,
I was cracking up a little bit to
why
myself.
is the
I was
men's
like,
belt
why?
a little bit bigger?
Oh my god, dude! The men's belt was from Cody's hip down to his freaking bottom of his chest.
Put it on?
He put it on, I think, like really
at the
quick.
very end, yeah.
Yeah, but like Liv's was not that. It was big. It was freaking huge, but it wasn't anywhere near as big as Cody's.
Yeah.
Just like the rings
I
were nowhere
wanted
near as
Nia's.
big.
Well, that's why they have to wear full bodysuits when they're over there.
Yeah, because they can't expose. Yeah. Stupid.
What?
Because Nia's so.
You know what the ending reminded me
I
of
love Nia,
of the Cody?
No Nia hate here. No Nia hate here, man. Gotta love that.
She's a good wrestler.
She's
She
hot.
is sexy as fuck. You know, if I had a chance with her, I'd be like,
Yo, Nia, give me some jacks.
And he jacks me off.
yeah.
Stop.
Dude.
All respect to
Yeah,
that bloodline.
it's-
All respect.
Yeah.
'Cause she is a
It's
bloodline.
just straight out of respect, but seriously, she's a beautiful woman, and I think I'd have to walk out of it. I can't.
She'd have to change her finisher to annihilate him.
You hear in the background. Finish him.
Annihilate him.
She's sitting on my face.
So what do you know what the ending of that match, the Bret Hart match, you know what it reminded me of?
Very hot.
I was
The
gonna say.
Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, I
Backlash
agree.
Puerto Rico.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it
100%.
was Cody Rhodes in that moment was a wrestler winning a wrestling match by doing a wrestling move.
100%. Like he outsmarted his opponent, but they predicted that when they had that final like face to face. You know, where he's like, you get overworked when people don't succumb to your moves. Once you've done everything in your book, you get overwhelmed, and that's when you fail.
Mm-hmm.
And Gunther didn't like that, but Cody was right, and that's the whole point of the story for it. You know, like he proved Gunther wrong, and that's the thing. Like everybody wants. I think Gunther's phenomenal. I mean, he might be a little boring at times, but like
He's a great wrestler.
I think every wrestler on that roster at times is kind of boring.
Yeah.
You know, like
Everyone
Cody.
has their little lows of.
I'm gonna say something that might bother you guys,
Uh-oh.
and I'm sorry ahead of time. I love that Cody's the one who took the belt. I wanted him to take the belt. His run has been boring as shit.
Because they haven't really set him up for anything big.
AJ Styles being his match, 1 match, 2 match, the matches were good. They were good.
Yeah.
But what the hell has happened since?
Yeah, like the
Kevin
best.
Owens.
Kevin, oh, and he was like, I want you as my next match. Why the hell do you get to pick that?
Yeah.
Like, I understand you're the champion, so it's like, oh, here you go.
And they're not really setting it up. Like, the biggest thing was when Roman came back. And those two fighting with each other instead of against each other was probably like one of the most exciting matches Cody's had. But see, that's what they do though, because they have all these great wrestlers and then they use them so lowly. Like even with the women, like with Chelsea Green or Tiffany.
Love Chelsea Green.
Dude,
She
like,
should have been Money in the Bank.
Yo,
Absolutely.
Chelsea's such a great wrestler, and she has such a good potential of like that snotty character.
You know who her husband is, right?
Oh, yeah.
Woo, woo, woo.
Yeah,
You
Zack
know it.
Ryder.
Honestly, I have to say I agree with you. I think that she would have been great for Money in the Bank as like holding that briefcase. But I love Tiffany Stratton.
Tiffany's
And it's not just because
she's an
a
up
beautiful
and coming
woman,
star. That's why.
but because she's so damn talented for
Yeah.
somebody who's been doing it for such a short time.
Yeah.
You know, being a gymnast, because she was a gymnast for a
She
long
has
time.
the athleticism.
Right.
She has a great attitude on how to portray her character.
Right, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And if you wanted to be goofy real quick, just like in Marvel where Tom Holland was Spider-Man, he was an actual gymnast, so that's why he was able to do all these things. He was able to do it practically. They didn't need to CGI his shit in. They do at times, but they didn't need to because he could do that.
Yeah.
Just like Tiffany Stratton doesn't need all this extra help. She probably is obviously getting trained, but like she doesn't need that extra hand. She already knows what she's doing.
I want to talk about the triple threat match. Dude, I thought that was the best match of the night.
Which match was that? I'm sorry.
With
LA Knight, Carmelo Hayes, and Andrade.
It was definitely the most exciting match of the night because, like, I really thought they were going to give that to Andrade, and I was a little disappointed. I love LA Knight, but I thought Andrade kind of deserves it the most out of all three of them right now. And
I thought Carmelo Hayes would be getting it, honestly.
Did you?
Yeah. But
I mean,
no, it was a good match. I mean, all of them actually executed their.
I love the double BFT.
Yeah,
That was money right there.
I was about to say, like, all of them executed their performances.
I thought all the matches were fine. This was Insane in the Half Brain. Thank you guys for tuning in. You know, we always enjoy doing this stuff together, and thank you guys for having me on. I enjoy it.
You're welcome,
hopefully
man.
I'll be in more episodes and stuff, and definitely try and be more a part of the show. I think you guys will be pretty excited to know, considering all this wrestling talk that we were doing, that something exciting regarding a prominent wrestler will be happening soon, and I think that you guys are gonna really enjoy it. So stay tuned.
This coffee smells like shit. It's a bit nutty.